right, glowers, let's get in here. Let's get it started. Let's get it started, glowers. Let's give everybody some time to get in here. Let's get glowing. Hey, Jenny. How's West Virginia treating you? Let's put up a light bulb. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm gonna keep that song going for a couple of minutes. Now, this is definitely gonna be a live one today. We're gonna make some folks mad today. But y'all know me. I'm gonna keep it real. Where's my water? I'm going to come with some truth. Hey, sis. Hey, Shartia. Woo, I gotta find my light bulbs. Hey, everybody. We're gonna wait till a couple of more get in here, and then we're gonna get going. We're gonna get glowing on this topic because we have a tight window. As you all know, yoga is on Monday and Wednesdays, and I have another live tonight. I have another live tonight at 8:00 about, it's buffering. Ooh. You know what? I have heard that people's internets have been acting funny. Wow, okay, let's stay on as long as we can. And if I have to, I'm just gonna cut this and do just a video. Okay, perfect. I'm gonna cut this and do a video if it keeps going in and out, because I've heard a lot of content creators have been saying that the internet has been really wonky. I've been great, sis. It is well. It is well, Jenny. Got the water going. So I'm still glowing with it. I'm down about 6 pounds, so that's great. You know, I want to be down a little bit more. Passionate made it. Woo, y'all. We gonna have a full house. Full house. Yes. Let's get going. Jenny, don't binge, Jenny. Don't overeat. Yeah, but it is tempting. It is tempting. Let me find my light bulb. Find my light bulb in here. Yeah, you know, I wanted to be down more because y'all have to realize, like, when you know how it is when you know what your body has done before when you've worked out. Yeah, I can see now how it's buffering. I can see that. I am so sorry, y'all. I've heard that from other content creators. They said the internet has been really wonky lately. So if I need to, I'll, just stop this and make an actual video. But I'm going to hang on as long as I can. Okay. Because, this topic needs to be addressed. And glowers, absolutely, we in here. Girl, fast food is the devil. Let me just say that straight away before we get going on the topic. We just, saying hello and greeting everybody. Fast food is the devil. Okay? I'm serious with that, y'all. We cannot afford, literally, health-wise or financially wise, given our best years, to food that is heavy in everything imaginable that we don't need to be ingesting. It's heavy in sodium, it's heavy in preservatives, it's heavy in extra calories, of course. And then on top of that, it's not even that good, right? When you start cooking your own food, you're like, what am I even doing? Y'all, if y'all are wondering what playlist this is actually on my page. This is the You Glow Girl playlist. And I'm gonna tell you, this is the only song that is by a rapper that's on my list, a male rapper. This is Hero by Nas, but that's only because y'all know Carrie Hilson rap that thing. We're gonna put a glow up for Carrie. I don't care what nobody say, the baddest in the game to do it. If you wanted a hit, early 2000s to mid 2000s, Pretty Girl Rock. It had to be Carrie. We're putting that up for her. Okay. So I'm going to just let this vibe for a couple more seconds and I'm going to get right into it. Because like I said, I know the internet has been acting wonky. And I'm on limited time because Wednesday is a workout night for me early. I have 2 workouts on Wednesday. I have a yoga and then I have a HIIT workout in the evening, the later evening. So I'm trying to stay on point with my, I'm calling it my BBL workout. So it's giving us the effects of having that BBL without having to get that work done. So I do believe we can. I have to figure it out, guys, because we were supposed to StreamYard today. We got more coming in. We got some more coming in. So please, y'all, get the lights up. We got a few in, but we only have a couple of lights. So let's get the lights up and let's light it up and let's get ready to press on with this topic. And then I promise y'all, I'm gonna be working. Maybe that'll give me lights and bulbs up, y'all. Lights and bulbs, okay? Awesome. We got a few more in here. So, getting into it. All right, y'all, we're talking about it today. Let me tell you why this subject is hot to me right now. For a couple of reasons, right? Yeah, I just had to let that hero play out. That used to be like my anthem. I used to get up and hit the ground running, like literally when I was in Charlotte to that song. But like I said, all of these songs, they're on my playlist. They're on the You Glow Girl playlist. You Glow Girl. And that one is public. So if you guys want to get that and see what I'm vibing to, what I'm listening to, what I'm working out to, that's it. And I have incorporated running this week. And y'all, I can tell you, the results have been almost instant. Running is no joke, but man, if you can do it, if your knees can take it, it's great. So welcome. I see we got a few more that have joined. Absolutely in good timing. Y'all see my Lightning's back there doing her business. Okay. All right, so getting into this topic today, when Black wives cheat. Amen. Amen. Y'all, I'm making a lot of people mad with this, I'm gonna tell you. For a couple of reasons. First of all, I think people want to they want to kind of put me into a category because I am a mother, rather, because I'm a Black woman, because I'm a mother. It's like certain things I can and can't, maneuver between, these different worlds, right? Because I'm a professional, because I'm an elected official. Yes, I'm all of that, but at the end of the day, y'all, I'm still human. I'm still a Black woman that is human, okay? And so, I don't know anybody that has lived their life in a Black or white and that's just been it. We don't live in these worlds where there aren't gray shades of gray, right? We are living in this world where sometimes it's here, we code switch, we adapt, we change, we grow, we shift. So with that being said, because people say, one of the things I get the most is, you don't seem like the type that would. So this was funny. So guys, I am a published author, but I wrote 3 books, and all of them, of course, they were picked up, and it was a 3-book deal. So the first book was Be Without You. That actually hit shelves. I actually, did a little tour for that. There were physical copies. In between my second book being published and my third book being the graphics being done for it, because, they do like the cover and all that for it, my publishing company was bought. And at the time, I didn't have enough money to buy up the copies of what was already done. So I don't have any copies of any of my works, physically. I do have, of course, some. I have family members that have the first one, Be Without You. But the second book was The Blank Next Door. And the last book was supposed to be the PAC, which was called The Perfect Affairs Club. Okay. And so Be Without You, it was a real story written fictitiously. That's the way I like to categorize it as. I took loose bits of what was going on in my life at the time to couple that with, some fictional characters. But they were all the characters were based on people that I knew, like actual people that I knew. So, but it was categorized as a fiction. Be Without You was not a fiction. And Be Without You, and the way it was written was Be Without You was the fiction. The Blank Next Door was not fiction. It was an autobiographical memoir. But the way it read like, it was a very in-depth, it was researched. It read like almost like an op-ed piece, but it was graphic at times, right? And this particular book, I actually reached out to some people to have them do the foreword for each chapter. And when they were reading through the chapters, they were like, you can't put this out. Like, I'll do this for you, but honestly, I think that you should rethink putting this out. And the reason why they did that, because, of course, a lot of people that I reached out to, they were friends. They may have been friends that I've met in the industry. Some of them were people I grew up with, but they were still friends. But the fact of the matter was that they definitely wanted to protect my image, because at this point in time, when this book was about to come out, I was a mom of 2 at the time, and I was separated, but I wasn't exactly divorced yet. So people just definitely, they were like, no, you got to rethink this, So as life did have it, I ended up getting moving, and I got the deal in between moving back from Atlanta to Miami. But like I said, my publishing company got bought out. and I didn't have the money to buy the books. So they kept the stuff, and that book never reached daylight. But it was explosive. It was explosive because I really talked about how, hey, Black Princess made it. Somebody put up that light bulb for Black Princess. Hey, absolutely. I am looking forward. Black Princess is having a show soon regarding Umar Johnson, and I can't wait to weigh in and speak on that. Black Princess, I'm so glad you made it. So glad you made it, sis. Amen. All right. So people were they were really concerned with how my image was going to be perceived. And so when this book didn't get to come out, I was like, wow, this is really divine. Like, because it did give me a chance to kind of think about how I could rework that and everything as well. But I didn't want to stop telling the truth of the transition that I had made and the growth that I had made going from, a young married mother, a young married woman to a, wife, to a mother, to a divorced mother. Okay. So it definitely was some movements. But I think one of the biggest issues that I kept running into when I would tell my story and I'd be telling this truth, it would be about, what, you don't look like the type too. So that's why the blank next door, that's why I titled it what I titled it, because I'm like, well, what does the type look like? What does the type look like? And apparently people think that the type looks like, you have to look like you're going out to cheat. And I'm like, well, what does that even look like? What does that look like to y'all, right? Does that look like, okay, because at the time, y'all, I wasn't, I didn't have a natural, I was weaved out and I was doing my cheating and my escapading. I think, people do think that, I think that the perception is that the more attractive you are, the more attractive you're looking to the opposite sex or the same sex, I don't know who you're cheating with, then the more advertising you're doing, the more it looks like that's what you're seeking. But I want to tell y'all that that wasn't the case. That wasn't the case, as a matter of fact, I remember one time being out with someone and I had on, workout clothes, and they weren't fitted because he didn't like when I would wear, fitted garb and whatnot. They were just, it was like it was a hoodie, it was a big oversized hoodie and some pants. And he was like, oh, they checking for you. Why they checking for you? And I'm like, I think that it's the energy that gets put out regardless, that's what you're into. I will say this though, when I was in Philly, when I lived up north, the way people moved with cheating was a whole lot more professional. And I don't know who needs to catch that. Absolutely, Black Princess. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. I don't like to put all the blame on, but, that was a big part. My ex-husband was very much, he was an intellectual, he was, we had great conversation. We had great, interaction. But at the end of the day, he was not into PDA. And, I'm going to get into another topic too, that a lot of our fellas, they don't like to hear. They don't like to accept or appreciate. But fellas, a lot of y'all invite, you invite that type of energy because that's what type of lifestyle you glamorize, you look into, you support, you fetishize over. I knew plenty of guys who were just like, because let me tell you about me. I've never, that I knew of, I've never interacted with a man who was engaged or married. Like that just wasn't my steez. But when I would hear like these guys rationalize And it was like when I would talk about when when I would talk about, because they'd be like, oh, your dude, da da da, like what is he? And I'm like, nah, he's a lawyer, he's this and that. Like some of them would be excited. Hey, hello, welcome, y'all. This is awesome. And Jenny, absolutely, I totally forgot, as I always do. The first person in the chat get some cash. So make sure you email me your Cash App, or you can post it in the room, whichever way. But the email is right there. First person in the room, y'all know, Cash App. All right. So absolutely. So this is what the issue is, that they kind of, they would be excited to kind of know, oh, you with a lawyer? Mike, Mike, you have to be the first one in. You have to be the first one in to get the Cash App. Absolutely. You got to be the first one in. Hey, Mike. What's going on? Put up that glow. Put up that bulb for Mike. Absolutely. But yeah, a lot of dudes, like they weren't turned off by that. So it's kind of like, if that's the case, then you're kind of welcoming that karma in your own relationship, So the first one, of course, attention. A lot of women are going to go with who you go, where your energy is being fed, right? And yes, it was great that I had this husband that I could come home to. But, when I was stepping out and about, I was always by myself, because he was in law school. The first 2 years of our marriage, he was in law school. And, whether I was I had to hang on campus to wait for him, or I had to, there were just a lot of times where I was just dolo. It was a lot of times I was dolo. But at the same time, he didn't like being dolo. I'm well, brother. It is well. So he didn't like being dolo. So when he was doing something, he would always make sure, hey, can you come to this event with me? Can you come here with me? Can you be here with me? But there was opportunity. So the first reason is opportunity, of course. So if y'all have your books out, Black women and Black wives, it's not that much different from my fine, white wives. I didn't meet a lot of like white wives, honestly, until I moved south. That was when I started to come into like a lot of white wives circles and that sort of thing. But up north, it was, I lived in a building where, I mostly associated with other, or we lived in a building, rather, we lived in a community where we mostly associated with people around us, and there were Black people. Like, it was a real Black middle class too in Philadelphia, whereas the further south we moved, that wasn't the case. But, so opportunity, it was there. He was in school, and then when he wasn't in school, after he graduated, he was teaching. He was a professor. So the opportunity was there, and I just would meet, different gentlemen throughout whatever I was doing, whether it was through work, whether it was through my building, whether it was, I would go out to eat a lot solo, and I would meet, guys, and that would just be the case. So opportunity was one, but two, like I say, is influence and it's karma. A lot of guys, I think, unfortunately, you really dismiss the idea or the notion that somebody's checking for your female. You really dismiss the notion that someone is checking for your female. And if you have checked for someone else's female, 9 times out of 10, that's going to come back to bite you. And I'm not saying that my ex-husband ever did. He wasn't into that, but that I know of. But I know plenty of men that I have started to, when I was doing my research for my book, as well as taking from my own experiences, plenty of men were just, they just felt like that was kind of a part of life. They would cheat with women, and then they would, they didn't think that their women would be cheating on them, but they would be cheating with other women. which was really interesting. Um, and you know, I've honestly, I have not met a lot of women that literally did vindictive cheating. And if you guys don't know, like vindictive cheating is they're cheating because they're cheating back. You know, I didn't meet a lot of women like that. Like, honestly, I just met a lot of women in the first two categories. The first two categories where they had the opportunity. And then the second one was that they were just pursued. They were pursued by men that they weren't opposed to cheating. You know, they weren't opposed to cheating, and little did they know, they didn't know they weren't opposing to being cheated on as well. So yeah, I think that it's beyond time to start having these honest conversations. Y'all, I'm always on these different platforms, and I'm listening to, first of all, these women talk that have never been wives, and they're talking about what it takes to get a husband. I'm like, how do you know? You've never been a wife, you know, and how to keep your husband. You're not there. But we need to have some real conversations. And then I'm seeing a lot too with younger people that don't even want relationships because they're talking about divorce. So instead of being married to be married, they're talking about being married until they get divorced. And it's time to start having these conversations before that's even a reality. Because without these conversations, you don't know what you don't know. You don't know what you don't know. So with me, I never planned on becoming a type of woman that would, cheat. That wasn't something that I thought, hey, that's what I'm going to do. Right. That's what I'm going to be into. I'm going to, get this husband, because my husband, y'all, was my first for everything. When we married young, I was 19, he was 21. And, I never thought, okay, this is what I'm going to, because to my whole life, I had wanted this. I had wanted just to be married and be one and done. And I never really planned or thought about what it was going to feel like when, the loneliness set in. He's going to school and I'm home from work and I'm just there, I'm just there in this place by myself. And, the internet, even though we didn't have the YouTube back then, but we definitely had, the MySpaces, and we had the Black chat rooms, going. So, it was always some other distraction from the marriage. And without my spouse being there, it was somewhere where the opportunity just came in where I wanted something else to fill that time. So, and I can definitely relate to that. I can definitely agree to that. Passionate, definitely. But the thing of it is that I didn't even know what that meant, because I just felt like, I didn't even know what that meant because that question wasn't asked. I just felt like, okay, I wholeheartedly felt like I was still a good wife. I'm telling y'all, when my ex-husband would come home, I would, have my dinners put together. I would take off his shoes. I didn't like when he would take off his shoes. I would take off his shoes for him. I'm talking about kneeling and taking off his shoes and, placing his shoes like that. We had a routine. And I really thought, okay, this is just a separate life, And I'm telling y'all, a lot of brothers, y'all are misreading some symbols. Y'all are signals, rather. You're misreading some signals. Don't ever, no, African American. Yeah, he's African American. But don't ever get too comfortable with that, with your lady. Don't ever get too comfortable with your lady and thinking that she doesn't want those things. She doesn't want to be told, hey, she's pretty. She doesn't want the flowers. I don't care if a lady tells you she doesn't like the flowers. I don't care if a lady tells you, oh, I'm not, high maintenance. I don't want that. You have got to use, It was just a symbol, Mike. I like to do it. It was just our thing. It was just a routine, you know. When he came in, I would take his shoes off. I would, set his shoes to the side and he would sit down on the sofa and I would, go and get the food and prepare our plates and that sort of thing. But it was just like a term of endearment. It was just like a term and I did this routinely. Y'all. So I just think that, sometimes our men, we get comfortable. I've seen it happen. And I've seen it happen in relationships where it's like, I knew that that's what was happening. I remember when I moved to Charlotte, and y'all, by then my cheating days were behind me for, the most part. Like I never cheated like physically with another person, like mentally it might have been something, but I never cheated I never cheated physically with another person after I moved from Philadelphia. But at any rate, I remember just being a part of these kind of little hubs, these little, socialite groups. And there were other, women. And I remember this one couple, man, this guy, he looked, men, keeping yourself up is important too. The woman just kept having babies, Hey, Black Introvert, how are you? I didn't get a chance to watch your last video, but I am definitely going to. But that's you came at a good time, because I noticed you said in your last video that, it's not the man's fault, a man's role to make the woman feel good. But, it's not your fault, but it does become your problem. Thank you. I'm trying. I'm telling you, we glow up fasting over here. Thank you. So yeah, it's not your fault, but it is your problem, because a woman that is not being fed that by you is going to get fed that by someone else. And I think that that's what kind of shook a lot of people. Shake it. Thank you. Thank you, Black Princess, right? Aisha Curry shook the table with that, because, people don't like to, they don't really like to address that when it comes to being married. It's like when you're dating, oh yeah, absolutely. You better be this and that and putting it together and wearing this and doing that. But when you become married, people don't want to hear that you have to keep doing that. And I don't understand how we as a society, we really think that is productive when we don't encourage actual married couples to continue to remain passionate. Passionate. Every time I say that, I got to throw up another glow for you. We don't remain passionate. We don't stoke those fires for one another. So anyway, when I was in the middle of this, it was a book club, and I'm telling y'all, this couple was just financially, whatever you're thinking or imagining, it was that times two. She had nannies, like she had kept having kids, but she had nannies. They had, I think, 3 kids at this point. But they had nannies, they had maids, they had a big home. He was a big, like, he was something in like IT. Like they had and it was a Black couple. And, all this time I had never met him. I had only met her. We had 2 other book club meetings, but they were at other, wives' homes. And so this was the first time she was hosting one at her home. And so I had never met him. I had always just heard talk about him. So she was talking about how, she's doing all she can because these doop and that. And she was talking real big stuff. So y'all can imagine the surprise when he came down the stairs and he was a good 350. Yeah, he was a good 350. And the ladies, like, we were just kind of like looking at each other, but nobody was looking at him. And her energy changed. I'm gonna throw my own up for that. I mean, when I tell y'all her energy changed. When it was obvious that people didn't want him and they weren't like jealous of her because she was the one laying down with him, honey, she was silent almost the rest of that night. And that was not typical her. I'm telling y'all, before this particular book club what was it, social event, she was always the talking, super confident, just moving about. But when she saw how everybody else reacted to him, she started downing herself. She started downing herself. I'm telling you. And I was only there after that particular book club meeting. I was only there about 4 more months or so. But the next time I saw her, she wasn't talking about, oh, I'm having another baby. She was getting herself together physically. And I'm not saying, I don't know what happened, because like I said, I ended up moving, and I moved down here to Miami. But I would be very surprised if they're still together and they have not had any infidelities from either side. Let me just say that. But yeah, let me tell y'all, the North, they cheated a whole lot differently. Guys, if you have not liked, please, let's get these likes up. Yeah, we got some more glowers coming in. They cheated a whole lot more professionally. You have professional cheaters in the North and the Northeast. Down here, down in the South, it gets kind of sloppy. Like it's very obvious. It's very obvious. Like I said, I was able to read people, and maybe also too, I was older when I moved back south. So I could read situations. I can read situations really good now. Whereas, 10 years ago, I wouldn't have picked up on them. But what I see on a consistent basis is a lot of guys, you're way too comfortable. I am a Cancer. I'm a Cancer queen. You must not have, you weren't at the last live, Black and Bird. We talked about it last time. Yeah, we talked about our signs, because my mom's birthday was, actually, yeah, you were there. Yeah, you were there, but I think you came after I had mentioned it. But I'm a Cancer queen. My mom was a Taurus queen. Amen. My daughter's a Taurus queen. My son's an Aquaman. He's an Aqua king. He's looking over there like, don't forget me, mama. I'm not. But yeah, we tend to really downplay each other. And I've seen that from both sides. And I got used to doing that too. I will say that in my marriage. And my ex-husband, he wasn't a bad looking guy. At all. But I was just like, I remember one time we got into a big argument in Charlotte. And I was just like, he was saying how the girls wanted to go out. Some of the other lawyers that he worked with, they wanted to go out. And he was just like, no, he was telling me, hey, he told them he needed to come home. And he was just like, he didn't want to get caught out there, with other lawyers thinking that he was trying to see any of the other people that he, worked with. And I was just like, ain't nobody thinking that about you. And you know what? I look back on that conversation, and I know that really hurt his feelings. And I know it hurt his feelings that when I said it, because we got into a big argument, but I didn't know the full impact. And he was just like, hey, just because I'm not doing these things doesn't mean that, people don't expect me to. I'm still the prize, y'all. He was saying that. Can we get the one, the Black man is the prize? Can we put that up? Because I know that dude caught a lot of flack when he said that. But a lot of our Black men feel that way. Yeah, they're the prize. And I'm not saying, I'm not going to downplay this brother's accomplishments, but my ex-husband actually was an Ivy League. He was Ivy League, but he also had, high scores as an Ivy League. He wasn't graduating with a 2 point. I think they said the brother graduated with a 2.75. Nah. He was definitely upper echelon. He was a prize. And I really was very dismissive. I became very entitled. And I think that does happen. That's the stuff that happens in a lot of relationships. Let me get to some of these comments, because I like what people are saying. I like that we're interacting here. Women and men need to be careful because there are too many sexual diseases. Absolutely. I thank God, by the grace, I never brought I never had anything, and that was by the grace. And y'all, I don't want to give a real, I don't want to give a truthful view. I was definitely cheating, but y'all, my cheating was not always, I wasn't just dropping it low and spreading it wide, y'all. I mean, I was going out on dates. I was just entertaining a lot of other distractions in my marriage than what I should have been. I was not, sitting around with no fans only accounts, pulling no men offline or anything like that. I wasn't doing that, but I was just entertaining. I was going out on dates. I was, meeting up, and, I was just having a whole lot of interactions with other men outside of my husband, and just trying to get something with those other men instead of getting them from my husband that should have been. Yeah, men who say that usually aren't a prize. I will say that for the most part. But I think like in that moment, especially, I can only talk about my situation when I was having this discussion with my ex-husband. I'm not saying fans only, but there was black chats. There were a lot of still opportunities like fans only, black introvert. Yes, there were. There was not fans only, but there was a lot. I wasn't running around like on the back pages, because I think sometimes when people think of cheating, they think of just the extreme. Thank you, Mr. Mark. So, yeah, but I do think that in the context of the conversation I was having with my ex-husband, he just felt like I was really like I was cheating, or I had been a cheater because I was so wanted, and he was not because he wasn't wanted. That's really the crux of it. That was really the kind of nail in it. But the gentleman that said, hey, he's a prize, I think he was just bigging himself up. I really do. I think he was feeling himself. And I think also, too, it was very strategic. I felt like, he, even that pose he struck, because I don't know if he was a fraternity member or what have you, but that pose he struck was just extra suspect. I think he really said that just to be kind of a troll, just to trigger people a little bit. I do think he did that. So, everybody definitely has their own opinion about why people cheat and this and that, but we cannot get away from the statistics. And the statistics do tell us that, 54% of men in relationships, committed relationships, will cheat, and y'all, 42% of females will cheat. So, hey, can you do everything perfect and it still happens? Maybe, but I've never seen that. I've never seen that where, this man was totally doting on a woman, and the woman was totally committed to the man, and they were just totally committed to each other. I honestly, I haven't seen it. I've seen relationships just be able to survive regardless of it. Mine did for a little bit. We were together about, 5 years more after my infidelity was discovered. But for the most part, the ones who I see lasting like that were, like my ex husbands. And there was not infidelity, but there was definitely, you could tell that there was tension in a lot of spaces because, his dad is a very good looking man. He was a professor. And so there was just definitely some tensions. And they're married. They were married young, 16 and 19, and they're still married. Beautiful couple. And she's amazing. And, I still write her, and I'm just hats off. She just really, it does take some blind eyeing. It does take some blind eyeing. So I'm going to get some more comments here because I see Passionate this is Passionate's, this is her lane. Definitely. She deals with relationships, in particular relationships for Black couples. So it says, if your prize is self-evident, you don't have to announce it. And I think he didn't really believe he was a prize. So he maybe try to convince himself a little bit, maybe trying to blow himself up. I don't know. I think he does. I think he does. You know what? I got to be very honest. I think just a lot of Black men do. I think it's in the music. Even if they don't wholeheartedly believe it, they believe it. Does that make sense? Even if they don't wholeheartedly believe it, they still believe it. I just seen another case in point, my own situation. I was dating a gentleman, a rather large gentleman as well, not keeping up his fitness. And that to me goes right back to what I was saying earlier about the complacency, about our men, and women, but primarily I've seen it from men just getting very complacent and thinking that, they're the prize. They're the prize. And I think because he felt, or not even I know he felt that he was, quote unquote, doing me a favor because he had never been married. He had no children. He'd never been to jail. I'm telling you, that whole thing, that goes a long way to these men. That when they can say, girl, that right there, I want to flood the screen. If they don't have nothing else, in this world, Mom. You hear me? Nothing else in this world. I got the audacity. Come on. It's true. He told me that. He was just like, because, he didn't have any kids and he was, helping me with, picking up my kids, and he would help with homework. Like I said, he wasn't a bad guy, particularly wasn't a bad guy, but at the same time, no, just because you're doing this doesn't mean that that's the end all be all. Like that doesn't make everything else kind of go away. When it came to my attraction, like I said, I would be getting up and at 5, 6 o'clock going to work out. He had a problem with the fact that I had gotten a trainer. So, I canceled the trainer and just started, literally putting myself through the same type of routine that I was going through with my trainer. And I felt like, okay, well, the trainer was an accountability partner. So since I don't have the accountability partner anymore, can you start, getting up and da-da-da with me? And he was just like, nah, like, I don't need to do that. And I was just like, dude, like, you're the one that's, never could get below 300 the entire time we were together. We were together for 3 years and 100 pounds per year, right? Stop it. And he didn't feel like he needed to have that type of commitment because in his head, like, I know he felt like he was, he was doing the most by just being there with me and, being available and assisting me with my family, which, I just look back on that and I'm just kind of disgusted that I was even allowing for that type of idea of his to fester. But I did, and I was there for 3 years, and I had to check myself. And yeah, I just think that's what. Oh, he was 6'2". He was tall. I've always dated taller guys. I'm 5'2". Let me put a light up in here for my talls. Amen. I've always dated tall guys pretty much, but he was tall, but he still he still was big. It wasn't the worst looking on him, but at the same time, he was still the biggest guy I'd ever by far been with. Me too, Black. Me too, Princess. Absolutely. Absolutely. I like something I can look up to. But I need to do that all the way around, literally, figuratively, and all of that good stuff. So we have a few more minutes, about 10 minutes. This is going really well. I want to get to some more comments. I want to see, I would love to, if Black Introvert, if you're still here, and Mike, if you're still here, because I know we lost a couple, I would love to hear from men about, why are some reasons that you think women cheat. So I would love to hear that. I'm telling you guys, telling you glowers, though, on the real, just I remember having a conversation with my sister, my second oldest sister, because like I told you guys, I'm the youngest of 5. So my second oldest sister, she kind of picked up on something when I was visiting. I would come, y'all, before I had kids, I would fly all the time. I would be flying here and there and everywhere, you know. And so I came and I visited, reaching over and patting my little cat there. I came down and I was visiting with her. And at this point in time, I was separated from my ex-husband, and the gentleman that I was, seeing at the time, he was stopping in and he would feed my cat. I had a cat then too. I'm a cat lady, and he would feed my cat, and then depending on how his situation was going with his mom, he would spend the night. So on this particular night, he had called to let me know that he was in fact going to spend the night in my place. And so my sister, like, she was overhearing the conversation, and she was like, are you kidding me? Like, you can't let him stay in your place. And I'm like, no, it's fine. And I was lying to her and lying to myself too at the time. But I was just like, oh no, he just stays around the corner, and it's nothing else going on. Like, he'll sleep there, and then, the next morning he'll be back at his mom's or whatever. And she was like, so how long have you been seeing him? And I'm like, why would you say that? And that's not true. And oh, girl, I was just all in my feelings that she was calling me out. But yeah, it was true. But I denied it and denied. I denied and lied. And she really checked me that night, and I denied it. But she said, okay, Courtney, but let me tell you this. If you are cheating, is the most selfish thing you can do. It's the most selfish thing you can do to at the time, she said his name. So I'm just going to say your husband. But she said that's the most selfish thing you can do. And let me tell you, like, me and this sister, we were cool. We would talk, we would laugh, we would, we had like a good little rapport. But we also, she was a real, what? And so I was just like, who is she to check me? She need to get her life. She need to get her life together. She need to get herself together. She don't need to be checking me. And so, mind you, this is 13 years ago. But yeah, she at the same time, even though it was not coming from the person that I wanted to come from, the message still was very valid. The message was very valid that, y'all, it just was not, it was not a good look, just all the way around, like spiritually, karma wise, just disrespect. It was terrible. It was terrible. But I think a lot of people, not just females, a lot of men too, they just really don't want to address what a disgusting behavior that is. That's what you're doing to someone that you're supposed to be loving. To someone that you're supposed to be loving. So I can definitely say, I learned, my lesson, not just because I lost the marriage behind it, but because I lost a friend. I lost a friend. I think about that song, How to Save a Life by The Fray. Such a good song, y'all. Okay. But I lost a real friend just because of the fact that I was so disrespectful, because, who knows? I've always said the marriage probably would have ended just because we did grow. We did really grow, and we disconnected as we grew. And it's like, now when I look at us, we're like two totally different people. You would not have imagined. Most people wouldn't, that we were a married couple, but I still have kept a couple of wedding pictures just to prove it. But other than that, you wouldn't have known, because we are so different than what we were in our adolescence and what we were in the first, literally the first 10 years of our marriage. So who knows? We may have eventually ended up divorcing, but I definitely think that if there was no cheating in there, we still would have been friends. And we are totally not. I mean, co-parent and all that good stuff, but Definitely not friends. Definitely not friends. And I miss I miss that part definitely more than I miss anything else. I miss that part, just being friends, being able to, because like I said, he was a really smart guy, being able to throw some ideas at him and having him, you know, work it in his brain to figure out how to apply it. So it's a cautionary tale. I tell you guys all the time, it may not end up like the Tyler Perry movie Temptation did, you know, with the girl getting HIV and all like that. That wasn't my story. Thank God that wasn't my story. But I tell you, divorce definitely been, it has not been pretty. It has not been pretty. And I'll be talking about divorce 8 o'clock on Art Banaka's channel. Guys, if you have not gotten the flyer for that, please message me and let me know so I can send you that information. I will be on Art Banaka's channel on a live stream, back live at 8 o'clock on his live stream, talking about my experiences as a divorced woman. So I definitely wanted to check in at this time for my glow live at 5 to give a little prerequisite to that. So yeah. You know, there were other factors definitely that ended our marriage, but infidelity was a big portion. That's right. Because yes, Black Princess, thank you so much, because I met actually Art on your channel. Thank you so much for giving me the time to to get on your platform last week. I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed you and the other brother just like chopping it up a bit. Yeah, it got kind of testy in there for a little bit, but I thank God that we still can have these civil conversations, because let me tell you, I check these other platforms and it's a lot of pandering, and then when it goes straight from pandering to name calling, and that's really the two extremes. So I definitely want this will continue to be a safe space where people can glow up and we can be accountable, we can be honest, we can discuss, and we can continue, we can move forward. So with that being said, Jenny Jones, if you're still here, if you're still there, make sure you email me. That email is groupglowup@gmail.com. Send me over your Cash App so we can get you cash today. She was our first glower here today. Everyone else, please, let's continue to be engaged. Let's just continue to encourage one another, because y'all, at the end of the day, we are in this together. We knew that before COVID, right? So I do think that we have got to figure this Black love thing out. We've got to figure this love thing out, you know, because when we are loved, we are the best of ourselves. I wholeheartedly believe that. When we are loved, we are the best versions of ourselves. So we have got to continue to be able to accept, be able to reciprocate, and be able to develop those type of loving relationships. So that's where I'm at. That's all I got for you. That's all I got for you guys today. Thank you so much for rocking with me, for staying with me throughout the buffering in the beginning. And until next time, y'all know what to do. Glow up.